Hello and welcome. Let's give it a few minutes and see who joins. So, one thing you got to say is that I'm diligent. I'm still here after so many years. I have been actually doing lives, whether on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Periscope. Even before Periscope, I was doing different recordings and uploading. And oh, this is I'm going to go back to when I lived in a little place called Temple in Calgary here in the Northeast, and I had a tent in my home, an actual outdoor gazebo tent, and it was in the formal living room of this house. That's what it would be called, like, um, and the tent fit perfectly. And my girlfriend Phaedra gave me the tent, and she was, we did, we were at a Scottish event, the Highland Games. And after the Highland Games and everything, she said she didn't need the tent anymore and I could have it. And I was like, what? And I'm like, well, what am I going to do with this tent? I went home and immediately put that tent up in my living room and made it my office. Um, and that's what I did. I just made it my office. It was up there. The energies in that tent were so different. I even had a medicine wheel and an angel wheel around the tent because I took an angel wheel class. And so I had the angel wheel put around. I had the cat at the time, Jasmine. She didn't like the wheel around my tent. So she would knock out, usually Raziel. It was always Raziel that she would knock She's like, "I don't like you," and she would knock it out. And even I've even found Raziel's his stone in my shoe. Like it was like she'd taken and put it into my shoe. This is quite hilarious. So, doing this work is something that I've done for a very long time. And sometimes I get loads of people on my lives, and other times it's like crickets. I get nobody. And whether people see this or not, could be one person, could be 10 people, could be 15, maybe 100. I don't know. But I'm always being called to do this, whether I am working a muggle job or not working a muggle job. I still want to show up and do this. This is one of the things. And when I lived on Temple, hello, it was the tent was a sanctuary. So many people would come. I would have full moon meditations, and my whole living room would be filled with like 20 or 30 people laying on the floor and teaching my classes. I didn't realize um, how many people actually came and did these things. I even had a medicine wheel set up in the backyard, an actual medicine wheel. My husband and I went to Bragg Creek and had him pull over to the side of the road to go pick up certain big boulders, big rocks, right? And put them in the back of our our caravan, and then off we went back home. And I created a medicine wheel, and the medicine wheel, I mean, people came and sat in my medicine wheel, and the medicine wheel was set up in alignment, which I didn't know because it had to be set up by the end of January. That's what I was told. And it was in alignment to the New Zealand Maui people um, prophecy. And then um, the Peruvian one was in December, and this one was in January. It was quite interesting. I didn't know that until a girlfriend, Heather, told me about it. And and then from there came the Journey Club and many other things that I've done. And it led me all because I always did full moon, new moon rituals and meditations. It led me to what I'm doing today. And now I feel there is so much changing and aligning. And I think also because my message is really, I feel more aligned where, when people ask you what your target audience is and stuff like that. Well, if you asked me that maybe 20 years, I'd be like, it's everybody, I want everybody. But my target market now is really, I would say 45 and up, definitely opening up to like if you're 30 or early 40s, absolutely. I never turn anybody away, but I feel like that's really, and that's the peri, I guess you call it perimenopause, to the menopausal women. Because with the energies that are coming in and the changes that are coming into the world, I feel this is a demographic that is affected in many ways, more so than, somebody who is maybe 20 or in their early 30s, because there's a different form of adaptability than somebody who is coming in to 45 and beyond and beyond and beyond. I mean, even for myself, what happened to me recently, and it was just where where I was working, the contract was ending on February 28th, but it ended on January 31st. And it was abrupt. It was like being sideswiped again. Like what happened to me 2 years ago, actually being sideswiped in my vehicle and causing damage within my body, which I'm still repairing. And anybody who's gone through an accident understands that your body's, especially after an accident, it's not the same anymore. And at this age, definitely not the same anymore. I don't heal the same way as I used to heal, right? So what happened recently, and it really got me to, because of things that have happened, being sideswiped again in a way where head office comes in and says, "Oh, that's it. Today's the last day. We're closing and we're changing the locks." And you're like, "What the hell just happened?" Now, I know there was a lot of chaos and craziness and things that went on, and trying to work with HR. And I do HR in quotation marks because I think HR was very biased and very, you know, um, only saw with like not a true eye, but only saw through the eye they wanted to see through, which is fine. So anyway, so they came in, shut the doors, locked it, and I felt like, wow. In one way, I felt relieved because I didn't have to pack up the freaking store, which is great because I didn't want to pack up the store. And another was, oh, I keep freezing. Okay, sorry about freezing. I keep freezing. Sorry about freezing. Yeah, I notice I'm freezing. So that was one of the things, is like the energy and the changes that were coming through, and understanding the astrology and everything that was there. Um, where Uranus in an opposition to me really made a huge, is in Taurus and I'm a Scorpio. So that energy coming in, and as Taurus was slowing down and going forward, it, bringing in dramatic change, bringing in disruption. But the disruption is for my highest good. Although right now I'm still decompressing, still aligning. And this, even with what is going on today. And this is where I'm finding that with the energies and where I'm heading with my purpose and passion and everything else, is my alignment to women and helping them to understand the shifting and the motions that are going on in the world, and what this shifting motion means. Because when you come to a certain age, especially if you're over the age, like even if you're in your 40s or over 45, even into your 50s, when you are sideswiped from a closure, from a, your company all of a sudden is like, oh, you go to your store and the locks are changed and you're like, what the hell just happened? When things like that are happening, and it's happening rapidly, like this isn't something that's new, or you find out that all of a sudden a program gets uploaded and your company is no longer, because of AI. and because of the changes that are coming in, um, within the world and causing those disruptions and causing those changes. And this is where, feeling that insecurity of what is going on is where I feel this where I want to step into that void. I want to step into that place of understanding, of saying, hey, yeah, things are changing. Life is becoming uncertain in many, many different ways. And that uncertainty is somewhere where we can feel it. We can feel that vibration, that Uranus, especially in there, and he's making a sissy square over to Venus, and Venus is all about our values and our money and our belief systems, and we feel like that of where we were raised or we were brought up to believe, and having that steadiness and that sturdiness is no longer there, and it's coming into something new, and we're reevaluating our world, we're reevaluating everything that is happening. Tomorrow, I'm doing a meditation. It's I call it, um the super of the compassion, and coming into that super energy of compassion, not only for ourselves, especially because of the energies. And the one other thing, because of the changes that are happening within our bodies, especially women who are going through perimenopause and menopause, our bodies are actually a lot more sensitive energetically than what they were, say, when we were 20 or 30, right? Because there's so many changes that are going on within us, and those changes are very vibrational as well. They're also, yes, definitely physical. We know that they are physically and they are mentally, but they are vibrational. There's a huge vibrational change because you're moving away from the maid and the mother into the crone, and what that crone is, and embracing that crone energy, right? So that crone energy of wisdom and of strength, and sometimes that is very much dismissed, especially in a time where, as I explained yesterday, where a program can be uploaded and $285 billion is wiped from the market, right? And then sometimes we feel like, because of the changes that are going on, and the transformations that are coming in, we feel sideswiped, and these changes are just wiping us all out, that we no longer feel in existence to the world around us. And I really want to create a space of Crohn's, a space of understanding where you can come into a grounding, come into a place where things are shifting. And this is a year of dramatic shifts. Whether you like it or not, this is the frequencies and the energies that are coming in. And we have to learn how to utilize this uniqueness of energies that have come in that have never come into this world before. And understanding the astrological part and bringing in that astrological part into a practicality. And that's one of the things that I love to do, is wanting to bring in fundamental practicality tools that we can utilize, so that when things are feeling crazy and sideswiped, or when we go and the locks are changed and it's no longer there, we are saying, like, okay, we are coming into a place where we have to trust, where we have to just back away, sit and do mantras, and it sounds like, well, that's crazy. Because our mind and Mercury just went into Pisces. So where when it was in Aquarius, I want answers, and I want to do this, and now it's into Pisces, and it's going to be in there for a long time. Is getting us to really step into our intuition, into that place of, oh, I do have an inner wisdom. I do have a knowingness. I am here to guide. I am still valued. I am still a functioning person, human being, and I am whole and holy. No matter what's going on in the rest of the world, no matter what's going on within your own personal life, to come back to that whole and holiness within our own selves. And that's where I want to create. So tomorrow I'm having, at 11 o'clock, a meditation ritual come together um energy for us, and it is part of my um February workshop. And if you wish to join, just DM me and let me know. It's 35 bucks. But that's where we're heading, because there's just so much, and I feel like many people are at where I'm going to call wit's end, where you just know, like it's almost where you're just ready to, like, at what point do you get worried or scared, and what worries you about the world? Whew. Wow. Hmm. Scared, personally scared, because of who I I'm personally scared. What am I scared of? Scared of being unseen, forgotten. Scared that, and it is a deep founded fear of a misalignment within myself, with my purpose and passion. That is something, to making sure that I'm within that alignment, and I am walking with God, and not trying to tell God what to do. Like thinking my mind is better than his mind, and that's one. And the other thing about it is survival, you know? It is that survival part, that fright and flight energy that comes in with all of this, in in, um, in this world, right? And that can cause for many, people, and for myself, oh, thank you, um, a fright and flight energy. So meaning that, okay, being sideswiped, um, last Saturday, it's been a week, and having, out of the blue, had no inkling this was going to happen, and you don't have to work the rest of your shift. We're here to take over the store, and we're gonna pack it up, and, locks will be changed, so you don't have to return your keys. Wow. Wow. That was just something that, yeah, the fear of God, because all of a sudden, where you're planning on, you are planning on, say, the next 3 paychecks, right? And we'll get into the muggle world. So you're planning on 3 paychecks, you're doing your job, you know when your contract's going to end, yet they come in because they can and say, "Nope, the sales are bad. It's not worth us staying open till the 15th, and your contract's up." And they can do that. It's in your contract, but you're not expecting them to do that. And yes, they have to pay you out a week, an extra week because of that, right? So, and they did it on the 31st, which was the end of a pay period, which was very interesting. The very end of the pay period, the end of the month, so that it was sort of like a clean cut, and making that clean cut. But even in doing that, and the drama that unfolded within, and I have my suspicions. Anyways, the drama that unfolded, and the person being caught lying within that drama, and then all of this happening, is quite interesting. And I still haven't had one person, after everything else, that one person hasn't responded. Would you work for them again ever? No, I wouldn't. Um, one, I don't align with their policies with HR. I really don't align with that. I don't align. I understand what their 7 mottos are, and that, I mean, they are very beautiful and they're great, but there is a misalignment, I feel. But then again, you know, it is a product, it is a corporate, and that's the other thing, is that you can't take it personally because it's a corporation. Corporations aren't people. Corporations, people are in there, they're running them, but it is, at the end of the day, it's a corporation and they go by the bottom line. And if something becomes too dysfunctional for that corporation, or it doesn't fit within their genre, then as a corporation, they have to look at what is for their best interest, not for your best interest. Like, corporations never look at your best interest. And that's the other part too, that's kind of fearful, because there are things that are going on where, when it comes to AI and when it comes to the bots, um, they're not understanding your best interest. Like, they're not understanding the compassion. What is compassion? What is sacrifice? What is um, joy? What is it to be able to give birth to a child, and be able to hold that child for the first time, right? It doesn't understand these things, you know, um, because it's not human. It doesn't understand that escalation and that scrumptiousness of humanness that is there. It's something, because it is something that is not tangible in many ways. So my fear is things that become where there is no compassion, there is no understanding. And that's why it's so important for the elders, us, to come in and gather, so that we can come together to create a place where, as we gather, wherever two or more are gathered, that energy goes out tenfold. And when you gather within that energy and you allow it to go forward, there is a vibrational frequency that comes from that reverberates throughout the world. And my fear is that people get lost in the illusions of what is unfolding in the world around us. There are things that we are unable to control. They are. There are things that are unfolding because Pluto is in Aquarius, it has to do with secret societies. It has to do with secrets. It has to do with and being at the beginning of the sign or the end of the sign, it's world events. So what are the secrets and the secret societies that are being exposed at this time, right? We're seeing it. And as these are being exposed, it disrupts your belief system. It disrupts your truth. And this is where people can just get lost in not mind like being mindless, being where they feel detached or feel where they are ungrounded, and feeling that ungroundedness. And and this is where this when this happens and these things are happening within the world, where by 2030 over 100 million people will have lost their jobs worldwide, globally. What does that mean as a world community, as a society, and the effectiveness of what that looks like on an individual? And these are things these are the things I think about. These are the things that to try and understand. So even through my fear, and even through the disruptions that are on um that are coming in, I know that I have to come in with a purpose and a passion. I know I have to come in, whether it's with two people or one person, or more, right? I know I have to come out and I have to bring in a form of stability and an understanding on the changes that are disrupting at this time so that people are able to bring it into a functioning mundane world, right? A functioning, try to bring it into a functioning way, right? And this is where, in doing that, and understanding the astrology and everything else that goes along with that, in doing that, I can, be less afraid. That's the thing, is to be um to be less afraid in this crazy world, because the next 12 days, like leading into the Saturn Neptune conjunction, things will tighten. They will clarify and reveal their deep purpose, but this is where you got to be trusting. You got to be trusting in what's going on, and it's hard to trust when things feel very um slippery, when things feel like all of a sudden things are sideswiped and people feel that they are unable to grab hold or grip to what they felt was real, or tangible, or that, oh, this will never go away, kind of thing. This will never end. It's like the belief system that, where right now all the information's coming out about Deepak Chopra and how many people follow him, how many people, have downloaded his meditations and everything, and gone to his retreats and his spas and stuff like that. I mean, I know for myself, I did in before 2010, and took some online courses and everything through it, and gained, for me personally, gained a lot. But the thing is that there's a difference between spirit and the man, and living the truth of what he was supposed to be living, which he did not. And um so seeing that, for a lot of people, that will cause disruption. When Doreen Virtue left the spiritual world and became a Anglican, a Christian, and totally dismissed everything that she taught over the last 15, 20 years. I mean, the disruption, the belief system that caused within people was was a tidal wave, right? These are the things that are, and these types of things, it's not just one person that this is coming in about. There's several that are coming forward. There's several that are coming in. And this tidal wave, it's not just a tidal wave, it's a tsunami that is coming in. And the tsunami of change, the tsunami of a place where, okay, we have to go to the higher ground. And what is that higher ground? What is that higher ground within you? That means you have to come into a place of trust with that of God and the divine, one and the same, however you want to explain it to yourself, and have to be able to walk within that divinity of you and the oneness of you and that of the higher power. And that's what we're entering into. And we have a global event that's coming forth that many don't believe that, or they believe that it's only the one way, or it's only this way, which causes rifts and causes dysfunction and causes where people are unable to connect and come together. And this energy is wanting us to find a solution within our own self, in order to function, in order to create, in order to um, grow. And I feel that's where many, especially women, because we are the teachers, we are the keepers, we're the keepers of the land. Doesn't matter what your nationality is, your color, uh, your ethnic, religious background. It's bestowed upon all women. We are the ones who give birth, right? We are the ones. And so as elders, we have to step into that responsibility as those teachers to hold that space, whether that's holding that space at work or holding that space within our own families, within going to the grocery store, holding that space of being the truth of who we are. That doesn't mean you have to go out there and start preaching and wearing a sandwich board. This is just allowing yourself to be that vibrant self and know that when you are in that energy and you're within that um, feeling, that oneness, that all will be okay within the chaos of it all. Even though when you look out into within your 3D vision, it doesn't look that way. And that's where we're at. And the side swiping and the pushing out is a place where I know the divine is coming in to get people to look at things differently. I mean, I spoke about yesterday about, the things that are coming in that are making a lot of these changes, a lot of this dynamic changes that are coming through with all of us. And some of it is very, let me go back up to yesterday. Luckily, I keep notes now. It's a good thing I keep notes now. Um, so things like, uh, so this revolution is faster than any that would happen, and that's sort of a when this disruption is happening, these new vibrations and frequencies that are going on top of you going through, say, perimenopause or menopause, like you're already going through these changes, but there's a molecular change that is coming through as well. And the and especially with the technology, and the technology is a vibrational one, right? So we got to think of how this energy is being vibrationally sent around us, right? So there's like billions of frequencies transmitting over our heads all the time, right? Doesn't matter where you are, anywhere in the world now. So, and it's going faster than it's ever gone before. Through that and through that energy, you also have the transmissions and that of the universe, the planets and the movements of the planets, and as we move around the sun, and as the moon moves around the earth, and the poles that are coming in now, through that we're coming down into a little tiny frequency of us, and through us we are going through changes within our molecular system that are having us have no more period, having our periods be all over the place, then our hormones are all over the place, having brain fog, having all of these other of changes that are going on amongst the grand changes. So we are this point within a circular of energy that is going around us, and through that circular of energy that is going around us, as we are at that center point, the earth is shifting and moving, and newness is coming in, and new ideas and new functions and new ways of connecting are coming forth. And through this newness and new connections that are coming forth, it is up to us to be able to hold that space. And that's what we're being called to do. It's not an easy one. It is not one that is lighthearted. It is one that is bringing into us a place where things are very fast. And this is where the thing it isn't replacing, the energies aren't replacing the labor, but the thing is it's replacing experience, knowledge, analysis, and decision making, right? And that's unprecedented. And the thing is that who holds experience? Who holds knowledge? Who holds that energy of decision making? It's the crone. The crone has that within her and within that vibrational. And when we are able to utilize it, that is untapped energies and frequencies that help and guide others along the pathway. Hopefully that makes sense because we have come through so much within our own lives. We've come through so much transformations and changes within our life that this is creating a newness. This is creating something that our mothers, our grandmothers, our great grandmothers, our great great grandmothers, and beyond haven't had to do before and haven't had to step into a frequency that is diverse and quick and fast and instantaneous. And this is where for us to come in and saying, yes, that just happened. Yes, that's instant. Yes, the locks, the side swiping came in. But this is where for us to come in and we're coming in and we're saying, but we need to come back and we need to breathe. We need to come back and come into that centeredness because that's where the truth of divine wisdom is. That's where the truth of coming into the oneness of our intuition with Mercury in Pisces as we're heading towards one of the largest conjunctions since 4300 BC. Where it's leading, that's the unwritten part. And that's why you have to come into that stillness and come into that void. Because then you're able to create in a place where you are able, even though the frequencies in that are crazy, it's like a toddler running around. And I don't know if you've ever done this, but sometimes with my kids, and I had very active, hyperactive children, that all of a sudden, like they'd be like running all over the place, going crazy. If I just sat, and I did this, if you like, just sat and tried not to like freak out and breathe, and just sat on the ground and just either started coloring or started to build something, all of a sudden I saw that slowness happen, right? And to now be done and ready to pass already. But you're not. You were chosen to be here now. You were chosen to bring in this frequency and to bring in that peace. And it's also understanding that, yeah, we're human. We're not always like, not every time my children freaked out, I was able to sit and do that. Sometimes it was just ah, and then we got to honor that freak out, or sitting in the car and sitting in the car. I'm like, I drove my car screaming, right? Because of the frustrations. Being able and not apologizing for it, to know that, yeah, I need to let this loose. I need to allow this to be out. I can't contain it all. And that's where where we're at. We're at a place where it's very difficult to contain this, right? We can't contain this because it is so, there's so much, and the energies are plus changes that are happening within the body. It's very difficult. So we have to be able to come to a place where, yeah, I got to come to a place of compassion. I got to come to a place of understanding. I got to come to a place where I can sit in amongst where things are going crazy, because we do hold the experience. We do hold the knowledge, and we can have analysis. We have that within us, right? And this is where many are, they freak out and they get up, especially if they look at the global markets, or they're looking at all the chaos that is coming up and the disruptions of the secret societies and the evil that's coming before your eyes. But this is where sometimes, okay, I see that, But I'm going to come to a place in the garden where I can sit and I can compose and I can come in with my thoughts, and I'm going to send out love to that vibration. I'm going to send out compassion to that because I'm not going to feed into it. I'm going to understand it. I'm going to come into a place where, um, in my muggle world, what can I do? So maybe that is where I buy a silver coin, or I look into getting some rare earth minerals or whatever it is. This is where I'm like, okay, this is what I'm going to do within my muggle world. I'm not just going to sit there and not do anything. But this is where I'm going to come into the fundamentals, because the fundamentals have not changed. The fundamentals have not changed, right? This is where, there's a world out there that tried to convince you men can have babies. There's a world out there that tried to convince you that a boy can be a girl and a girl can be a boy. Right? And we know the fundamentals is like, no, that's not, no. As much as you want to try, as what new apparatus or skin grafts you do to create that changes, that inner core, that soul essence is still that. So that's what we have to come into, and that's where that's where I feel I, you know, in my humble way needs to step into for the frequencies that are going on. So this is where, you know, the old mental maps are dissolving, certainty fades, intuition replaces logic. This is where we are going to have to see, and the sudden disruptions to broken timelines, because new timelines are coming in, and the surprise outcome. So this is where the lesson in of the markets and the spirit is: stop forcing clarity, adapting faster than fear, learn before you are forced to, like, begin to learn, to begin to understand what is going on. When I went on Periscope, I don't know if any of you know what Periscope was. It's a live feed, that you could go on, and your video was up there for a certain amount of time and stuff. You could find different feeds that were going on around the world and shit like that. It was really cool. And it was owned by then Twitter, which is now X. And it was, at the beginning, it was like, okay, I have to learn how to utilize this program, and going out there and doing it. And I did. And as I learned it and I did it, and the more I did it, it allowed me to do other things and create other connections, which was very cool. And I think this is where we're at with the changes that are coming in, is that we have to learn how to connect in new ways, learn how to connect with um, new types of people or new energies, learn what that all means. I mean, you don't have to be prolific on everything. No, that's not where we're at. This is where we're coming into a place where, to the mind, we have to learn to loosen its grip and come in, from a linear logic, where everything has to be a certain way, to intuition, symbolism, dreams, and divine timing. That's where the crone wisdom is, right? This is if it feels foggy or strange and emotional or cinematic. This is where we're getting ready, the room correctly, and allowing for it's here to change the question. Now it's where things are being reset. Um, an end of an era from 2018 to 2026. It's ending. Um, this is where relationships around money, worth, attachments are changing, and what they mean, and what you think you need versus what actually sustains you. This is where energy has been stuck in old paradigms. This is why all of these things are happening and disrupting, because they're old paradigms. They don't fit in the new. They can't go forward. They have to change. There is that disruption. And Uranus doesn't gently adjust. It interprets. You can just put it in front there, babe. Oh, yummy, yummy, yummy. So this, it disrupts. And what gets disrupted usually is the thing we were sure was stable. The plan, the connection, the value, the system we build our identity around. And yes, it can sting at first, that identity of, I work for this corporation, I work for this company, and bang, it's not there. It's wiped out. It's no longer, it's not wiped out, but I mean, for me but you're not a part of it anymore. And it stings at first. And we want the candy. But the thing is that right now the universe is unlocking the jail door instead. It's saying, here, the candy's over there. Here's the jail door. But we were looking at it, instead of looking at the little steps that are in front of us, or the little things that we can do, like the mantras, the meditations, the connections, the talking with one another. We're looking at, oh, but I need it like this, right? I need the grandeur. I need it like this. But we also have a moon that's going into Scorpio, and it's suddenly the emotions get louder. It's intensity, certainty, emotional payoff now. But here's the catch: the moon is making hard aspects to Aquarius. I know this because I live with this. This energies in Aquarius right now are hitting my Saturn, so I know I have to get organized and awaken. And then it's also making aspects over to the Scorpio, so an awakening the quincunxes of the Saturn and the Neptune, which now are just like 1 degree of their historic conjunction. But this is like, I want this, right? This is what, the feelings become, I want this, right? Why isn't it happening yet? Why isn't this going out this? And this is because some things are above our pay grade. God has a bigger plan. And what that bigger plan is, we don't know. It's not written yet. And that's why gathering is important. That's why community is important. That's why when things do get disruptive and shit hits the fan, things happen. And we still have a retrograde with Jupiter. And it's barely moving. And it's the hardest thing. This is when you can mess with optimism and future vision, especially with Mercury in Pisces forming a minor but irritating angle. The test is simple but not easy. Are you trying to force a specific outcome? Stop it. Or can you get curious about why the universe is rearranging things? And this weekend, ask the trust over certainty. Pop the popcorn and let the movie play. Right? This is where if you want to, I mean, I wouldn't go into big crowds. I mean, this is the crowd. Especially if the crowd feels edgy. If something feels off, back the hell out. Don't push conversations that don't want to happen. And don't make emotional ultimatums, right? Don't plant, mental seeds you'll regret watering on Sunday. This is not the weekend to demand answers. It's a weekend to observe patterns. That's where we're at. And you can ask these questions, right? Where am I running outdated programs around money, love, and worth? And what can be recycled instead of mourned? Right? Because Taurus is about recycling. It's not throwing things out the trash. Taurus does not throw shit out. I might need that one day. Scorpio will throw the shit out and say, fuck it. It won't even try and recycle it. And this is where it's like, no, let's recycle this. We might, we can really utilize this in a new way, right? That's where the compassion comes in. All right. And that's where the things come in. Yeah. Well, Geminis might throw it out too and say, fuck you, baby. I don't need that bitch. Air signs. Here comes the sword. And the other thing too with the Virgos and the Geminis, you guys have to understand too, is your ruler Mercury, which is actually, you know, is in Pisces, and it's not, it is one of those places where you really have to come into, okay, hang on, Virgos, hang on, Pisces, Geminis. You have to feel. You have to come into the feeling. You have to come into the body. Done that this year, asshole. You're not done yet, baby. That was preparation. That was the prep. Because now you know, right? You can't unknow what you know. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And that's where this is at. And it's frustrating. But this is where you pop the popcorn, watch the movie, take the time, right? Big breaths, big breaths, big breaths, right? And look at, what am I ignoring? Right? The small connections, because I'm obsessed with the big one. I want the big one, but I got to look at, oh, the jail door is open and I can still get that, I can still get that treat. And that's okay. Stop the world. I want to get off. Yes, yes. So I have my delicious, yummy. I'll show you what he made. I got it's coconut bake. Woo! So this is what Steve made me. It's there's saltfish in here with pumpkin and goody spices. This is a bake. This is a bake. It's kind of like unleavened bread that he made with coconut. Very yummy, very yummy. So that's what I'm going to watch the candle, Mary. That's what I'm going to eat in a moment. But if you are wanting to join me tomorrow at 11 a.m., let me know. So that's why I am the size I am. Just an FYI, because my husband loves to feed me and he loves to feed people. That's what he does. That's his love language. Eat, eat, eat. I think he was Italian in a past life. So if you want to join me tomorrow at 11, please let me know. You can DM me and it's $35. Yeah. So I'm going to love you and leave you. May the love of the Lord and the Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all you say and all you be and all you do. And yeah, it can be topsy-turvy and it can be cray-cray. I know. I love you all. Hold you all within my heart. Sending out blessings to you all of love and light and pure source energy. There you go. Have a great one. Blessings to the puppy. Blessings to everybody. Bye-bye, everyone.